Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to be talking about artificial reproductive technologies and infertility in context of gender roles, religions and different cultures. There's a wide research and that has been done across different cultures such as the East Asian cultures, South Asian cultures in Nigeria, in Egypt, indicating that actually women, they have a stronger desire to have children comparing with their male partners. And also that women, they take the responsibility for the couple infertility. And that means that whether it is the male partner that is being diagnosed with fertility or the female partner, it is the woman who deals with the consequences of that. So perhaps she's being more proactive with arranging the appointments, and perhaps she's the one who's dealing with the family and friends questions, like, the famous questions like when are you going to have a baby? And perhaps this is really important for us to know, because social variables such as gender roles, perhaps they carry more weight than only the medical diagnosis of who's infertile. And I think it is really important to consider that in order to have maybe a fuller, better understanding of perhaps what certain groups of people they might be associating with, for example, infertility or assisted reproductive technologies. I think it's also important to look at the different regions of the world, such as Asia, some parts of Africa, also within certain Hispanic cultures. The most important role that woman can have is actually considered to be being a mother, and that would only give us perhaps as well some indication of what perhaps infertility or even undergoing artificial reproductive technologies might mean to certain women if they live within societies where there's such a huge pressure on them to perhaps become a mother. So in the past 20 years, there have been extended ethnographic research done in Nigeria that has been done on over 100 households. And this research indicates that infertility actually prevents some women to attain their full womanhood, and as well indicates that a woman need to deal with so many consequences of infertility, such as domestic abuse, divorce, abandonment, disrespect, and as well polygamy. And I think what is also important here is the religion that comes with the culture as well, that perhaps it's to some extent tangled with the culture. And the religion obviously shapes the family life, shapes the meaning of womanhood, motherhood, and as well the childbearing. Additionally, Ian Horn, who's a well-known researcher within infertility and assisted reproductive technologies, indicated that across Muslim Arab societies, infertility is still a stigma. And there's also research that has been conducted across Jewish and Christian communities, indicating that in some traditions, people, they still believe that perhaps children are being given to the deserving one, that the children are the blessing from the God. So perhaps then there is a suggestion as well that sometimes people who doesn't have the children, they can be seen as the one who are being punished by the God. For example, within Islam, there's emphasis on the scriptures saying that heaven lies under the mother's feet, perhaps in this way elevating the status of the mother. And therefore, perhaps a Muslim woman, infertility is one of the worst afflictions that she can experience. Altogether, the research presented here, and there's actually so much more research that I could talk about, that has been done across different cultures, different religions, and different regions of the world, indicates that women who live within pronatalist societies and who struggle to conceive, they are being marginalized. They struggle with being shamed, and also with domestic violence. It seems as well that within the cultures and the religions where there is a pressure for women to actually have a child, it seems that the women who cannot actually have a children, then they are being positioned as the odd one, as the one that perhaps are doing something wrong, because perhaps there might be a suspicion that maybe she doesn't want to have a children, which will be also seen as something wrong. And sometimes as well, it might be the case that women, they might not actually have a choice whether they want to have a child or not. They might not even be aware of that choice, because perhaps there is not really a choice for them. The only option, the only role that they can fulfill in their life is the motherhood that will give purpose to their life, which is obviously very a narrow way of perhaps being, and not everyone that can fit into that very narrow way of being. And thinking about the woman who can't fit into that, you know, what happens to them, what are the consequences for them, how that is affecting their mental health, what are their life struggles. So I think it is quite important to think about issues like that. And I think it's also important, you know, to think and talk about how maybe to normalize being infertile, how to normalize being a childless within the specific cultures, within the specific religions, so that portion of women who maybe cannot conceive or who doesn't want to have a child doesn't have to be faced with violence and judgments and shame. So yeah, thank you for watching my video, and if you like this content, if you're interested in topics of infertility or assisted reproductive technologies, then subscribe, like this video, put any questions if you have regarding those topics, and then we can start a conversation about it.